You know what? It's a nice breeze, a cup of tea, weaving handspun with my loom propped up against the tree. This is really nice. I really treated myself. Or you could say I really treated my cats. This has been a cat bed for the first few days I've had this. Well, for my cats, this is a bed. For me, this is an Ashford knitter's loom. I've been wanting one for a very long time. I have never used a rigid heddle loom before. This is a rigid heddle loom. So on that note, if you're new here, hi, I'm Wolf, and I do stuff and things. And my hubris tank is full, and my audacity tank is full, and I have a mug full of green tea. And what could possibly go wrong? I'm going to weave today. So Ashford looms usually come with a very nice instruction booklet, and it includes everything from putting this together to warping it to finishing your first project. I did read this yesterday, and don't worry, I don't remember anything already. This is the display model from the store I bought this from, so it's already put together, which is gonna save me like a couple of minutes. If you've never seen a knitter's loom, you're like, what is this? This doesn't look like a rigid heddle. Well, there you go. Here it is. I'm immediately overwhelmed. That didn't take very long. Now, this is where fun begins. I need to figure out the length of my warp and then figure out how to warp that length because it's gonna be long. This is what T is for. It's called procrastination. Wisdom is chasing me, but I'm faster. I'm not gonna sample. I probably should. I'm just not going to. I want to just do a project and just get used to the mechanics without the pressure of this actually coming out how I want it to come out. Excuse you. My warp is going to be linen. How do I set this up? So actually the setup was not as scary as I thought it was going to be. I didn't even need to move this table. I was worried I was gonna have to like jam it diagonally and then get my warp go out the door somehow. I didn't really need to do that, which is super nice. Now this is going to be my warp. So it's on a little lazy cape, and this will go on the floor behind the loom here. Just for your context, I will be pulling the warp thread from way over there all across to here, and it is going to go right there on that peg. And that peg is on a very dirty step stool. I got the idea for using a step stool from a YouTuber. She's doing it a little bit differently. I just found a way to clamp it, so it should be fine. As is tradition, my table is being quite a bit of a butt. Most normal clamps don't work on this table. It's just too wide here. You can probably kind of see it over here. There's this metal bar that makes it just like a few millimeters too wide for the vast majority of clamps, including the clamps that came with the loom. So I'm using my woodworking clamps. It's annoying, it is what it is. So I'm gonna use these to just mark to myself which one of these dents I wanna use. I need more hands. Yeah, this is gonna be the first, and this is gonna be the last. So I'm just gonna tie these on top so that they're not in the way, but still mark what I'm doing. So I start by tying this down here. And we're gonna go through the first slot. Let's walk it to the peg and drop it here. This is actually really fun. I know a lot of fiber arts can look extremely boring, especially if you're not really into this kind of thing. You see somebody hand sewing and you're like, what are you doing? Get a sewing machine. But it's fun. I know this looks so repetitive, but I am having such a good time actually. And the thing is, I was so intimidated by warping. And now I'm like, oh, this is easy. And I think what that means is that it's all over, chat. It's all freaking over. I'm gonna be weaving so much, I think. Who knows? I'm gonna find out. Don't worry, I don't think I'm gonna become a weaving only channel. The booklet talks about having a friend help you warp. I don't have one in this space right now, so I'm gonna use their online instructions for solo warping. I was very surprised how much cardboard is involved in weaving. How do they do this? Okay, I'm doing something. And the tension looks awful, so that's delightful. Nothing can possibly go wrong. I'm gonna wedge myself in here. We're starting to deal with cardboard. This is so uncomfortable. I'm gonna have to figure out a better way to do this. Oh, this is not looking good, chat. This is not looking good. Oh, I think I may have done it. Get my lazy Kate sorted out. Well, that took quite a bit of yarn, actually. Ooh. Hi. So I got some sticky mats. Well, they're not sticky, they're like anti-slip. So this should help a little bit. I need to loosen this. Oh, too much. And I need to lift this and tighten. Now, because fiber arts have been around for so long, there's so many ways of doing things. Everybody will do every part of this process differently, and there's so many different approaches, and this is part of the magic of it. So I'm following some steps the way Ashford describes them, but some things I've seen from other YouTubers. So this is kind of a mixed bag of what feels right to me right now as a complete beginner doing this for the first time. I need to move one thread from each slot into this tiny little hole in the dent, which you probably can't see. Now, if you're a knitter or a crocheter, this setup probably looks like a lot of faff. But from my understanding, I could be wrong about this, but from my just very generic vibes I've gathered from the ether, weaving is much faster than crochet and knitting. It's a common sort of belief that crochet is faster than knitting, but it takes more yarn. My understanding is weaving is faster than both and takes less yarn than both. I could be wrong, so this could be an experiment in the future once I know what I'm doing. I don't think it really matters that much at the end of the day. Just like different fibers are good for different things, I believe different fabrics are good for different things. Especially if you're doing this as a hobby, do what you enjoy. What is faster is a completely irrelevant question in my opinion. I saw somebody use rubber bands to keep this up and stabilize it on both ends before tying this down. Okay, I found some rubber bands. I do not know if they're gonna stretch enough. Oh, this is scary. There we go. So we do this. We do a surgeon's knot the other side. Now, obviously this isn't a tutorial, so I'm not showing this in great detail, but hopefully it gives you an idea of what is involved in rigid heddle loom weaving, so you can decide whether you want to give it a go yourself. Now, I think I removed the rubber bands. Okay, so now I need to go through every single knot and adjust the tension, do my absolute best to make sure it's all the same. Now, these are surgeon's knots, so I should be able to just pull forward and then tighten them. Okay, I think we're good. So what I think I need to do is I need to tie little bows so that all of these long ends do not bother me. Yeah, I messed this up. The last one is giving me trouble, but I prevail. There we go. The last one is tied. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to have tension issues galore, but I shall proceed. The weft is going to be my first ever handspun yarn that I absolutely love. It's very thick and chunky. So now I'm thinking if this is too thin to weave the hem with, I mean, I haven't tried, but it seems pretty obvious it's going to be. What if I grab something else that would go with this? Also, update, this is what's left of my bag of destashing, but I also don't mind dipping into it for weaving because why not? So here's some Knit Picks palette. Probably enough, I don't know what I'm doing. When I am very new at something, like I am at this particular weaving process, I like to be very observant, but I also like to kind of put everything away to figure out later. Just observe and move on. Don't feel bad about it. Don't worry too much about it. Don't try to fix everything. Be very picky and choosy what you put energy into in the beginning, just because some things will just fix themselves. I find that usually just naturally you learn to do things more efficiently and better and more evenly as time goes on, even without thinking. I feel like your body and mind just knows what to do sometimes. You just have to let it figure it out on its own. This is my first ever handspun yarn. So when I first pulled it out just to look at it and see if I like the look of this next to my warp threads. Yes, I just sat there petting this yarn, just like I pet my little cats. I don't know, I just didn't want to let it go. I think there's just something so special and warm about this yarn. I'm getting very emotional that it's finally being used for something, and I think it's also really cool that it's also going into my first proper weaving project ever. There we go. Here's my shuttle. Hi. What's up? I think I just accidentally, absentmindedly figured out where to put this. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to go here in your lap. What do you think? Definitely need to beat this more aggressively, that's for sure. There's Muffin right there. He's using it as a bed. You're investigating my warp. You can sniff, but no biting. It's kind of difficult to do this if I need to supervise. No, if you start doing licks, you're gonna start doing bites. Yeah. Oh, this is looking pretty much exactly how I imagined. Oh, this is so good. And actually, I really like the brown I added. Oh, I forgot to tuck this in. No. Hey, what are we doing? What is this? Will this work if I tuck it in now? I'm gonna tuck it in now. This is my first project. It's fine. Nobody's gonna know. What you doing over there? There's little paws up there. Okay, with a very heavy heart, I'm putting this away for the night. It is the next day. I couldn't sleep. All I could think about was weaving. Get ready for a close-up. Don't know where this gap came from. Probably that's part of the reason why people put cardboard under here. Oops, I just made it worse. Okay. We're gonna ignore that. But I do think that's probably why people put cardboard. Part of it is just covering up the knots here, but my knots aren't very big. I think it's just this sharp corner here. So I do have a piece of cardboard, so that's gonna hopefully go in there. But yeah, look at how cool my handspun looks. I'm obsessed. Now, look how worn down the linen looks, and it's just an absolute mess. So that's not great. There's some plies just breaking right over here. So I do want to advance this further. Let's go to the back of the loom. This is why I'm so worried about tension. There's a lot of looseness in here. There is a chance that is not as bad as I thought. I did some reading, and there's even some techniques where you wind your warp without any tension. So maybe it's fine. But then also, even if you have a thread that's just kind of loose, what you can do is you can hook something, hang it here to just add a little bit of tension just to fix that one thread. I should be okay. We're gonna find out. So far, it hasn't been a problem. This is so not perfect, but I love it so much. I don't think words can describe how obsessed I am with this. Okay, let's get in position and let's get weaving. Ah! A warp thread broke. I really, really hate modern linen. So what I could do is I could see what you're supposed to do. I could look it up, but I'm just gonna try. I'm going to try to tie on a bit more of the thread and weave it in here with a needle, and hopefully the knots aren't too bad. I'm weaving in a bit excessively, but I feel like I'd rather be excessive than have it loosen on me. This is where the broken warp thread is. Like, it's sort of visible, but it's fine. I'm worried about this knot. I shall see. The ends I can trim later. And I guess I just continue now and see what happens. Quick note on the knot, it's doing fine. I haven't felt it catching at all. This is the last tiny piece. I'm gonna tuck in most of it and let the rest dangle on the back side. What if I do a bit more weaving with this brown to separate the two hanks for just no reason? I just don't know how wide to make this. Maybe I just don't think weave only. I still have some of this brown on the shuttle here. So maybe I just do that. Maybe I just go. Sounds like a plan to me. I like not thinking. Not thinking is really fun. Weaving with this is a lot more passes, so it wears through the linen a lot more. So I have a lot more thin spots going. The few warp threads that I was really worried about, I just kind of licked my fingers and wet them. I am not convinced it did anything, so I don't know if I'm gonna try spraying this down. I don't think I will. Now, something I really want to make very clear, this linen yarn isn't marketed as a weaving yarn, at least as far as I'm aware. I bought it as a knitting yarn. It didn't work for what I wanted, but that's on me. So any rage I have on linen is on modern linen, okay? Just as a whole globally, it's just such a sorry state. I finished all the yarn I had on the shuttle. What I need to do now is I need to cake this up. Before I do that, I'm gonna go make a cup of tea. This is such a cozy craft, and I feel like adding tea to it is only gonna make it better. So, tea time. It has been acquired. It's just Costco's green tea. It's nothing fancy. Look at this slubby beauty. Oh, it's delightful looking at this now. I'm having such a good time. I just zoned out and just sat here in silence. Oh, I have tea. I forgot. Oh. I blocked my Swift with my tea. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned, this was spun from undyed BFL. I wonder if the store I got it from has more, because it was actually really good for the price. Maybe I should get more and see what it looks like if I spun it now and maybe make a sweater or something. There's so many things I want to spin and so little time. Oh, look at me holding the camera like all of the pros do. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep weaving, and then if something fun happens, I'm gonna get you in on it. Hi, I just wanted to see how much of a faff it is to try and weave outside. Because this is supposedly portable. Well, it is. It's on my shoulder right now. I just want to see. Is it comfy? Can I do it? Do I like it? See this little sticky outy bit on the tree? I'm gonna try and use that as my table to support the loom and see if that works. Now, if you're wondering what this is, it's a cat bed. In a lot of my videos, every time I do much of anything outside, I usually sit on this as a little chair. It's a cat bed. My cats never used it. I bought it to them when they were tiny kittens. They didn't like it, and now they're too big for it, so it is my chair now. So let's try and set up. Ooh, I'm way too far. Also, I feel like I'm falling over. It's not ideal. Ugh. No, I got sap all over my sock. Oh, that sucks. Ugh. Outside has its drawbacks. Oh, this is much better. There we go. You know what? It's a nice breeze, a cup of tea, weaving handspun with my loom propped up against the tree. This is really nice. Ooh, the plums are ripening. Hold on. I'm gonna show you. Look at all these plums. I don't think my phone wants to focus. Well, there's a few. We're up to 42 inches. Oh, this is gonna be a bit tricky. It's a lot easier to do on a table. Oops. Forgot those are a thing. I keep forgetting. Ah, there we go. Just for your reference, I have this shuttle, and this is all of the handspun I have left. So I assume maybe not even a full shuttle after this one. So yeah, we're approaching the end of this project. I just can't get over how pretty this is. Just look at it. It's just glowing in the sun. And look at this silly little edge with the little lumpy bumpies. I assume once the tension is released, this will actually like pull in and feel more substantial, because right now these little bits, they can just move up and down, which is a little bit silly. I know it looks like I'm doing the classic beginner mistake where I'm beating too hard so everything's too smushed together. But this is pretty loose. There's definitely gaps. They're just not very visible because the yarn is all over the place. Also, it doesn't really stay in place. Like once I beat the next row over, the one before it also tightens a little bit more. So I don't know if that's like really bad or what, but we're gonna find out. So last night, I finished this project. Well, I finished the original idea. So, here it is. Last few passes of my handspun and then the hem. I'm really glad I didn't do that on camera. I just cried. I was so happy. I think something healed in me with this project. This is very much visible mending on the very fabric of my being. I have a little bit of warp left. I figure I might as well enjoy that warp because, you know, I already put the effort in warping it. What I'm going to do is just grab some random yarn and continue weaving until I just run out of space. And I have no idea what I'm going to use that fabric for, but that's a problem for later me. I don't think I'm going to put any scrap yarn in or anything like that because this is already scrap yarn. I will say I was very worried about tension issues, and throughout the majority of the project, my warp was fine. Like there would be an occasional thread that's slightly looser or tighter, and I would just kind of wiggle it on this end here where it's wrapped around and it would figure itself out. I think now that I'm approaching the end of the project, like the last few bits of the warp, I'm definitely noticing a few threads being way looser than others. And again, I don't know if I just caught them with a shuttle, because that was definitely something that kept happening. That's what's been causing the vast majority of issues that I've noticed as I went along. Modern solutions. I can definitely improve my skills in warping. There's definitely a lot of things I can try and do. Putting ties on my warp before I wind it on is definitely one of them, but I also want to try some techniques that I saw online that don't involve keeping constant tension as you're winding it. There is one where you're only holding on to the paper. So instead of using like cardboard strips, you have a roll of paper and you hold tension on that as you wind the warp. And then every few twists, you yank the warp threads to just kind of get some slack out. But you don't actually warp it under tension, which seems a heck of a lot easier to do alone. So something that I struggled with most, I would say, with the Ashford's method of warping alone was that you kind of take the entire warp and you just wrap it around your hand. And the wrapping, I was like not quite sure how to start it. And as you do it, like some sides of it become longer and looser and some become tighter just because of the mechanics of winding around your hand. And it just felt weird. It just felt off. So I really want to try different ways of doing that. Maybe I do a fun thing where I use both of these. How do I do this? If I keep one shuttle to the left and one to the right and then do 2 passes and then 2 passes this way, then you have the tiny little loop-de-loops at the edge. So one side has loop-de-loops of this color and one side has loop-de-loops of this color. Ooh, I like that idea. The weaving for the project is done. I still need to finish it and all of that, but let's play. Let's have some fun. Hello. What you thinking? Is it tasty looking? What do you think of these? Do they pass inspection now? Now you're coming to investigate. What's up? What is this? You gonna steal my chair? Would you like to learn to weave? Or are you just taking the chair for sleeping purposes? I have a little observer. He's very interested in the shuttle going through.
What's up? What you thinking?
It's going really interesting. I'm really enjoying these edges. I hope the audio is not too bad. I just quickly grabbed my phone so my microphone isn't even connected. What are you trying to grab? There's nothing there.
think he's going for the little shadows of the warp as they move. This is not gonna help my tension issues. Hi. I don't think you like that.
And I'm done. I could have gone even further, but I noticed the closer I got to the end, the more tension issues I had and the more egregious they were, and it was becoming very difficult to manage them. I have instructions for hem stitching from Purl Sew, so I'm gonna do that. And now we cut. I don't want long fringe because that would make my cats eat it, and I want to see how well short fringe holds. I assume all of these can be reused as yarn ties or something. It's quite a lot. I'm thinking I might do the technique I learned with Sashiko thread where I braided so you can pull one out. There we go. Can use these for something, I guess. This fringe looks so funny because it's just linen poking out. Very silly. Here's how much fabric I made. You can definitely see the lack of consistency all over. I tried. Also, it got like narrower towards the end, and I don't quite know why. This is actually quite huge. It didn't look like that much while it was still rolled up. So everything online is telling me I need to wash this first and then I can hem. And I'm just gonna hem this first and then wash because I'm thinking about hemming using the same yarn. So I'm hoping any like shrinkage issues or anything like that is just gonna get accounted for because it's the same material. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Bucket. Goop. More goop. Tiny piece. Big piece. So just like with all of my things, I'm gonna leave it to soak 20 to 30 minutes or until I remember it's still here. And then I'm gonna dry it and I'm gonna see you in the reveal. Have fun soaking. Good soup. Don't know why it looks so radioactive. I promise you it is not. Welcome back inside. Here it is, my first rigid heddle weaving project, made with my first ever hand spun, on top of my first woodworking project. I was finally able to woodwork a little bit again, just to have it ready for this video, just to be able to say that. Feels good to do things for the first time. Let's be objective for a second here. Was my first hand spun yarn good? Was my first weaving project on a rigid heddle, was it objectively good? And is my first woodworking project, is it objectively good? No, but it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be good. It just needs to be functional. Just like me, for real. Yeah, this was a ton of fun. I highly recommend doing things for the first time and not being good at it. Being good at things is really overrated. And I know I usually go on about things that went wrong, things I could do better. There's so much I could do better in all of these. I think the story here is just do stuff, make stuff. It doesn't need to be good. It just needs to be made. That's it. That's all. Thank you so much for following me on this little journey. I hope you had a really good time. If you're new here, give me a like or a comment or a subscribe or all of the above. All of it really, really helps the channel out. Thank you all very, very much. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.